Okay, one of the things that I want all of you to know is that HTML ignores white spaces. So keep that in mind, that HTML ignores white spaces. So what you can do is align your tables as appropriately as you want, so that when you come back to it, you can read your content. Here's something that I saw, and I've seen most people do this, so I want to correct you guys. So what happens is we start with our table here, and then we write things like border equals 0, and then so on, all the other attributes that we need. Then we write our TR, then we have a whole set of TD. Now in one of the TDs, we're going to introduce a nested table. You notice even as I'm writing on the board, I am aligning the TR and TD separately. This way, when I write it this way and I do a TD here, and then I do a TD here, and then I do my /TD and /TD at the end of it, and /TD, and then my /TR for this row and the /table. Notice how I have aligned it in the code by indenting my TRs and TDs. You need to do that, because if you don't do that and you start writing all the TRs and TDs together, I don't care, even if you put a comment after each line, you will not be able to make any sense out of this when you come back to it. Please bear in mind that a website is never complete. We have to constantly change the website. We have to constantly update our content so that we can bring our visitors back to the website. If you have a website where there's no interaction, people get bored out of it. Or they say, oh, I've seen this website a few times. They are not changing anything. So a lot of times you want to change the layout. And a good example of that is if you look at large companies like Microsoft. Every few months you see their website is changed. Novell, every few months you see their website is changed. Apple, every few months you see their website is changed. So basically, if you want to bring your visitors back, it's not all about search engines, but it's also about the people that will come to your website and click on things. You want to change either the layout, some content, maybe add a new picture to it, and that also keeps you, is also good for your search engine, because that way you can keep bringing the spider or the crawler back to your, back to your page to index it over and over. And again, if a spider keeps coming back to your page because there's new content every time, later on I'm going to teach you how to bring the spider back to your page by specifying a parameter that will allow let the spider know that in the next 14 days or maybe the next 21 days there will be new content. But then if you do that, we have to make sure that something new is added to the page. Otherwise that can work against you. But that's another thing. Our next topic is accessibility. Today, accessibility is a very important aspect of web development. Today, accessibility needs to be in place for every website that you create. Why is that? Well, two good reasons. First of all, there are many tools and technology in today that allows people with disabilities to still visit the web. As a matter of fact, right down the street from here, there's a computer access center, which is very close to the airport. If you ever go there and see the equipment that they have, and the kind of, and people with disabilities that come in and they're using computers and getting on the internet, then you will be surprised. So that's why, as part of, as part of our care, one of the things we should do is make sure that our site is accessible, and we have used code that can be read by either the screen reader software or any kind of accessibility software. Now, the other advantage is that the way an accessibility software reads the entire page is the same way that a spider or a crawler from Google will come and read the page. Charlie, who we all know is visually impaired, has a visual disability, uses a screen reader software called JAWS. And he is able to read the entire web page using JAWS even though he cannot see. Now, the Spider also reads exactly like the way JAWS does. So every time that I design a page, I want to make sure that JAWS can read it, because if JAWS can read it, the Spider can read it too. Because the Spider is a program, so it can't see. So if I put a picture of me, or if I put a picture of a class, the Spider can see and say, oh, this is a classroom. It's a program. So I have to basically make sure that I have enough content and enough text so that even if I put in a picture, I can use the alt tag to make sure that I explain what that picture is about. And that's what the Spider is going to pick it up. So you see there's a dual advantage. So this time, one of the things we are going to do is with your table, we're going to go ahead and include, so when you include tables for your layout, one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to basically use a tag within the table called caption. Caption allows you to summarize what the table is about. So if I have a table here that discusses the current articles or news updates, what I can say, current articles or news updates in technology, a caption. If I have a table that lists all the courses, their descriptions, and their prices, then I can introduce a caption. So when a screen reader software will come in and read that, it'll automatically know what that table is about, and that makes your website keyword friendly. So the caption tag is going to allow you to go ahead and introduce that for your table. Just like for your images, the attribute alt equals will allow you to describe to the screen reader software what the image is about. And at some point, I will basically take you all to Charlie's computer, and we'll go on the web, and you'll see how the JAWS reads a web page automatically. And if you have an alt tag for their image tag, an alt attribute for the image tag, and if you have a caption for the table, Charlie, who's sitting in front of his computer, JAWS will read out to him that this table contains the following information. So he automatically knows. And that's the same thing for your Spider. So in this next exercise, we are going to go ahead and add a caption for our table. Now the other alternative to a caption is also the summary attribute within the table. So just like you write table border equals 0, width equals 800, cell spacing equals 0, cell padding equals 0, one of the other things you can add is summary equals. And there you write a description of what that table contains. So that's again another alternative method on describing how a table is. So in our next exercise, we're going to go ahead and add a table caption and summary, and we're going to continue from there. So exercise C1 on page 213.
Rolling.
Okay, another part of accessibility is when this is not for layout tables, but this is for charts. Like for instance, let me create a table that will be displayed on my web page. So once again, in our HTML advanced class, let's suppose that we are designing a page in which I'm going to go ahead and display a list of courses along with their duration, along with a description, and then price. So what are these? These are my table headings. So when I write the code for this and I write table and with all my attributes, and then I go TR, you know that we will use TH for table heading. So one of the things that I can do for creating accessibility for each to read the table. See, earlier we did summary and we did caption. Summary and caption was for the spider to know exact what the table contains, but it's a summary. This table contains information about courses. That's it. But which course links to which heading, you can even direct the spider to that level of detail. And that makes your site even more easily readable. And remember, the spider will index more easily readable sites. And then of course the main advantage is that people with accessibility or disability will also be able to really benefit from the information that you're providing, which is of course part of our care. So the thing that we want to do here now is when we do TH, we will include an ID for each heading that we have. So courses will be ID equals 1. And then of course I will write courses and then put a /th. My next table heading is duration. I will write ID equals 2. And then again I will write duration. And so on and so forth. For each heading that I create, I'm going to use ID equals 1, ID equals 2. Now, when I'm writing the content, so let's say our first course is HTML, and let's say this is 32 hours. Description is basic and advanced HTML. Of course, we're going to write a longer description. And then price will be whatever price the company selects. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is when I write my code for this, because I've already defined ID equals 1, ID equals 2, what I will now do is when I am writing the code for the content, I go TD. This time I'm going to say header equals 1. And then write HTML. And then write /td. You see that? By putting that header equals 1, it will automatically go to the table and link it to ID equals 1, and that's how it'll know that this is part of the courses column. You see that? And then again, when I do TD, I will basically again add header equals 2. And then write 32 hours. And then I'm going to write /td. Again, it's going to take this 2, link it to ID 2, which it knows its duration. So this way, each and every content of the table can be linked to a particular heading. But remember, if you're using the tables for layout, this ID won't work because layout tables don't have a heading and a content. But when you create a chart like this chart that I just specified, you can further use ID and headers to link that table and create more accessibility options for you. So this is called establishing table relationships. Your next exercise, exercise D2 that we have on page 16, 2-16, you're going to actually go ahead and create the ID and the header for the table in front of you. So let's go ahead and do that.